Religion. That's what we'll be discussing today. We're going to be discussing about religion today. I got the Bible, the documentary. The quarter game is over. For you Jehovah's Witnesses, I got that too. You King James Versions Christians, I got that too. For you Zon Darwin Illustrated Bible Dictionary, I got that too. Religion. Religion is man-made. I've showed you several times. Now, some religion, really white man's religion, has basically been on this earth less than 500 years. So if their religion has been less than 500 years, how in the world you want to sit there and explain to me and tell me their way is better than the African way? Their way is better than the natural way, the spiritual way that flows through all things. So I want you to tell me clearly, how is better? Amun. Now, brothers and sisters, those for the first time heard me. For the first time, if you just turn into this channel on YouTube or Facebook, I'm Chocolate Amun Ra. And today's lesson is about religion. Now, we already had my first lecture, and my first lecture was based on dealing with my pieces that I have, my rings and the clothing, to tell you the transformation that you could really take place. You could really change if you want to. If you really choose to change, you can do that. And I mean change, I mean fully. Fully change. Represent yourself at all times. Represent yourself mentally, spiritually, and psychologically. Represent the way yourself, the way you eat your food. Represent yourself how you speak to people. Now, some people go, oh, the minute you use foul language, then all of a sudden they want to hang you. You know what? That's their prerogative, because this is what they do. A lot of our brothers and sisters are lost, and religion has got them lost. Literally. Religion has got our brothers and sisters lost. I mean, listen here. I am a prime example. I'm a prime example of telling you the truth. So understand this. I am a prime example of telling you the truth. Because I was in Christianity. I was a Jehovah's Witness. Listen here, I ain't throwing no books away. I ain't throwing no books away. Listen here. Ain't nobody afraid to show you. I know this book is a little messed up. It was a lie because I had it for a long time. The New World Translation of Holy Scriptures. Jehovah's Witness. This is from the 70s. I'm 50 years old. Okay? My first Bible was a New World Translation. It was a Jehovah's Witness Bible. I'm telling you this here. And religion had me messed up. You're doing good 1 minute, you're doing bad another. You can't do certain things. You gotta follow the rules. There's rules on top of rules after top of rules. It will drive you crazy. Literally. If you like somebody, they gotta prove it. But you gotta like somebody inside the Kingdom Hall. You can't like somebody outside the Kingdom Hall, because if you like somebody outside the Kingdom Hall, well, guess what? You got to bring them to the Kingdom Hall. Your father, your mother, if you have any one of those adults in your house, they got to approve of it. Then they got to come to the Kingdom Hall, and basically, he's got to be, or she's got to be converted. Because in their mind, if you have two different religions, it's going to be a battle. Like automatically in their mind. But to get deeper into the Jehovah's Witness, what I do want you all to understand is this here. That the culture of Jehovah's Witness, right? The culture of Jehovah's Witness is not based on what you think. This is what they want to tell you, want you to believe. And that organization was based on people having dreams or sight and stating that they know when the end of the world was coming, so they're going to be a witness to the end of the world. The origin. And they call the witnesses. But that's not the original name. Bear with me a second. The origin of Jehovah's Witnesses, okay? Into the darkness of Jehovah's Witnesses history. Oh, I come prepared. I just wanted you to bear with me. I come prepared to break this down for you. Right? Who was the founder of a Jehovah's Witness? Because I post a lot of these things up. Y'all seem not to want to, you don't want to get it.
Yeah, this is Mikey's busy time at the farm, so you're stuck with just me today.
So,
I just wanted to do a...
What you have to understand is this. The founder, it goes way back. So, Charles T. Russell. He was one of the founders. But before him, it was another man. You ready? Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on for a minute.
Study scripture with and under the influence.
Excuse me. Apologize. Okay, you ready?
Of various Adventist laymen and clergy, notably Advent Christian Church minister George W. Stetson and the Bible Examiner's publisher George Storrs. From 1870, he met locally on a regular basis with a small circle of friends to discuss the Bible, and this informal study group came to regard him as their leader or pastor. In January 1876, when he was 23 years old, Russell received a copy of The Herald of the Morning, an Adventist magazine published by Nelson H. Barber of Rochester, New York. One of the distinguished features of Barber's group at that time was their belief that Christ returned invisibly in 1874, and this concept presented in the Herald captured Russell's attention. Although the idea appealed to young Charles Taze Russell, the reading public apparently refused to buy the story of an invisible second coming, with the result that Nelson H. Barber's publication, The Herald of the Morning, was failing financially. In the summer of 1876, wealthy Russell paid Barber's way to Philadelphia and met with him to discuss both beliefs and finances. Russell became the magazine's financial backer and was added to the masthead as an assistant editor.
Now, I stopped the video for a reason. I stopped the video to tell you, you could do your own research. I just wanted you to get a little grasp. You notice the whole time, in the beginning, they haven't mentioned the Jehovah's Witness because they wasn't. It was two different organizations, two different small little groups of people. But then you must understand this, that they believe in certain times in the 1800s and the 1900s that Jesus was coming back. Jesus, who is a white man. Let's hold that thought. Let's hold that thought. Now, I showed you in the video that they showed Jesus as a white man that was coming back. In different times in the video, in the 1800s, they were stating that Jesus was coming back. Now, how are you going to show a picture of a white man, but in your same book, the New World's Translation, Holy Scriptures, this is the scripture. And the first scripture I'm going to read, Daniel chapter 10, verses 6. And his body was like crystal light, his face like the appearance of lightning, and his eyes like fiery torch, and his arms and the place of his feet were like sight of burnished copper, and the sound of his words was like the sound of the crowd. That's Daniel chapter 10, verses 6. Describing Yosha, some of you call him Jesus, here in modern time. But to Jehovah's Witness, let me show you.
Nelson H. Barber of
now.
Rochester, New York.
Listen.
One of the distinguished features of Barber's group at that time was their belief that Christ returned invisibly
Christ
in
is a white
1874. And this,
right? Christ is a white man. Daniel chapter 10, verses 6. I'll read it again. Okay?
concept presented in the Herald One of the distinguished features of Barber's group at that time was their belief that Christ returned invisibly.
Now, Daniel chapter 10, verses 6. I'm going to read it. Again, and his body was like crystal light, and his face like appearance of lightning, and his eyes like fiery torch, and his arms and the place of his feet were like sight of burnished copper, and the sound of the crowd. Now, my hands and my feet, that means I had a garment on. I had a garment on, so the only thing you can see is my arms and my feet. Right? Does this description look like from the scripture? From the same Bible. From the same Bible. This is Jehovah's Witness. Pay attention. The hypocritical, how they was being hypocrites, how they looked at black people as dumb. Because you're going to put information out, right? You're going to put information out, images. Let's get into a little bit more.
In 1874, and this concept presented in the Herald captured Russell's attention. Although the idea appealed to young Charles Taze Russell, the reading public apparently refused to buy the story of an invisible second coming, with the result that Nelson H. Barber's publication, The Herald of the Morning, was failing financially.
That means they can use
in the
that
summer of 1876, wealthy Russell paid Barber's way to Philadelphia and met with him to discuss both beliefs and finances. Russell became the magazine's financial backer and was added to the masthead as an assistant editor. He contributed articles for publication as well as monetary gifts, and Russell's small study group likewise became affiliated with Barber's. Together, Russell and Barber jointly published Three Worlds and Harvest of This World. Russell and Barber believed and taught that Christ's invisible return in 1874 would be followed soon afterwards, in the spring of 1878, by the rapture, the bodily snatching away of believers to heaven.
Gods and goddesses, brothers and sisters, kings and queens. We're in 2017. These men, these white men, believed that this was going to happen. First of all, you don't know the Creator. The Creator is unknown. How are you going to sit there and try to dictate what's going to happen? Common sense. Common sense. Two, you need to pay attention about the financial situation. Three, first they tried to use visible Christ was coming. That didn't work. Poof. Then they used the invisible that Christ was coming. So it will be easier to get into the minds of people who worship the Creator. Have you noticed in the document, you haven't heard Jehovah's Witness yet? You hear about the rapture? But here we go. In the rapture, you ain't got no black folks in here. Where the black folks? Where the black folks? Where are the black people in the rapture? You don't see none. Why this is not here? Even in their magazines. I remember this. They will show you one black person and he was African. Religion. This is what religion will do to you. Black folks have taken religion to another level. You support every religion except your own culture. Listen here. We're going to get knee deep in here.
When this expected rapture failed to occur, the Herald's editor, Mr. Barber, came up with new light on this and other doctrines, like the rejection of the ransom sacrifice. Russell, however, rejected some of the new ideas. Finally, Russell quit the staff of the Adventist magazine and started his own. He called it Zion's Watchtower and Herald of Christ's Presence,
Zion
and published
Watchtower.
its first issue July 1879. At this point, Charles Russell continued to view William Miller and Nelson Barber as instruments chosen by God to lead his people in the past. The formation of a distinct denomination around Russell was a gradual development. His immediate break was not with Adventism, but with the person and policies of Nelson.
Let me ask you a question. Where the black people at? See, you could do this research for yourself. I'm just giving you a little scale. Where the black people at? All you black people, you so caught up in these religions. Where they was at? 1878. Where they was at? I see women, white men. Let me show you again. Hold on, let me show you. Your people, what people they talking about? There ain't no black people up in here. Y'all talking about don't be racist and love all people. Are you out of your mind? They started getting black people after certain members passed away. We'll get into that another time, if I choose to. But this is part one in religion. I'm Chocolate Amun Ra. Some of y'all are so deep-rooted. You're so caught up in it. I'm just using Jehovah's Witness as a stepping stone. Because all religion, I'm going to show you, peace, have messed our people up.